And we're live. Councilman Gill.
Thank you, Council President, and good evening, everyone. Good evening, Hartford. Good evening, all the callers that are on the line and my colleagues here at Council. This is the City of Hartford Court of Common Council public hearing for the month of November. It's November 16th at 7 p.m. and we have a large agenda tonight. First, let me introduce my council colleagues who are present with us tonight, starting with Council President Mally Rosado. We also have Councilman James Sanchez, Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon, and Councilwoman Marilyn Rossetti. And we've been joined by Councilwoman Wildelise Bermudez. And if there are other council members, please let me know, as we're now on two screens for WebEx. I may not see you all, but certainly want to make sure we recognize everyone. Council has public hearing once a month. It's on the third Monday of every month. Tonight we have an agenda of 6 items. I'm going to read the council rules and announce the timekeeper, and then list the 6 items that we're going to discuss. And we're doing it a little bit differently than we do it when we're live. When we're live, we take each item one at a time. But tonight we're going to take the speakers one at a time, and they're going to tell us which item that they're going to address. So as with all of our public hearings, anybody who wishes to address will be recognized by me, and I have the names of at least 25 people who I will recognize. When I recognize you, please give your name and please give your address. That's very important. We'd like to know where you are. And if you represent a group, also tell us what group you represent or what organization. All remarks should be limited to 5 minutes. And as I mentioned, my timekeeper this evening is Councilman Sanchez, who will be timing you all. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or becomes boisterous, we're going to push the mute button on you, and that's it. You get the hook. Certainly not expecting that from any of this crowd. There will be no debate of any of the items, but council members may ask questions of any speaker. And when I call you, please indicate initially whether you're speaking in favor of the item or opposed to the item. Now, as to the agenda, we have 6 matters on the agenda tonight. So I'm going to read them in order. Item number 1 is an ordinance amending Chapter 22, Article 2, Division 5, to increase commercial non-residential parking lot licensing fees and to add commercial non-residential parking garages to the licensing requirement of the Hartford Municipal Code. Item number 2 is a substitute ordinance amending Article 5, Division 5, Section 2-196 of the Hartford Municipal Code. And I will just note that that's the Civilian Review Board ordinance. Item number 3 is a resolution requesting that the Hartford Court of Common Council approve superimposing the name Abdul Shahid Mohammed Ansari Way on Charter Oak Avenue to be displayed henceforth as Abdul Shahid Mohammed Ansari Way. Item number 4 tonight is a resolution requesting that the corner of Hillside Avenue, and I believe it's the intersection of New Britain Avenue, be superimposed as Charlene's Way. Item number 5 is resolution requesting that to honor and memorialize Joe Marfuji's outstanding contributions to Hartford, the riverfront parks and riverfront recapture. The Court of Common Council heartily approves naming the new Riverwalk the Joe Marfuji Riverwalk. And item number 6 is a resolution allowing the conveyance of an easement in the South Branch Park River corridor for the purpose of maintaining an existing multi-use path and construction of an extension of this multi-use path. Easement is to be conveyed by the Hartford Housing Authority of the City of Hartford to the City of Hartford. So there you have it. We have these 6 items to discuss tonight, and I have my list of 25 people. And up first on that list is Constance Mansfield. And so, Constance, please give us your name and address and the item that you wish to discuss, being in favor or against. Constance Mansfield. Come on down. This is your time.
Mansfield.
She's on the screen.
She's not muted.
All right. Well, we'll come back to Constance as number 26. She lost her opportunity here. And I see that it appears we've been joined by Councilman Josh Michtam. So welcome, Councilman Michtam. Speaker number 2 is Tammy Leach.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. I am Tammy Leach, and I live at 110 Martin Street in Hartford, Connecticut. And I am here speaking on the agenda item number 2 of the Civilian Review Board of Ordinance. I am also the Vice Chairwoman on the Permanent Status of Hartford Women Commission, and I will also be speaking on behalf of my fellow commissioners. Our commission supports the existing components of the ordinance, but we also object to its current form before council tonight due to the failure it doesn't address our concerns regarding the composition of the CPRB. In October, the commission sent each council member and the mayor a letter urging consideration of changes that needed to be made to the ordinance to ensure justice relating to the accountability of the Hartford Police Department. Although our request for the inclusion of a member or alternate with a background of being justice involved has been received, the composition of 50% women of diverse backgrounds has not. The ordinance in its current form does not require at least 50% women, that of which contradicts the fact that we make up 52% of the residents here in Hartford. With the omittance of the word gender, this ordinance clearly does not reflect diversity, nor does it ensure the citizens of Hartford that this board will render equal justice to all of its residents. Also, since our commission stresses the necessity of women having a role in matters addressing the issues and concerns within our community, the PCHW Commission would like to also be considered as one of the organizations that will represent an equal voice, advocating for equality for women under the community recommendation process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leach. Next speaker is Donna Schwab. Donna Schwab?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Goodness sakes. I guess I was unmuted before. Anyway, number 5, I'm sorry, 8 Schultz's Place. Number 5, I'm in favor. The Park and Rec Advisory Commission doesn't meet until next week, so I'm not speaking as a representative. I'm speaking as a resident. Joe Marfuji, he did wonderful things, and I think this is a lovely fitting tribute to him to name the new river brook after him. Number 6, I'm in favor. On this item, I can attest to the numerous times lack of completion of this trail was brought to PRAC. Our mission and purview are the parks and recreation, not all open spaces. So although PRAC did push on several occasions to try to make a couple of administrations aware of several issues related to this area, we were unsuccessful. I'm relieved that the first step in creation of a trail and easement from the housing authority to the city will finally occur. There are many more steps to make this a reality, and I'm praying that this does not take another 10 years. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Schwab.
Okay.
Next on the list is Mingo Holmes.
You're muted, Mingo.
Mingo Gomes, you there? We can see that you're muted. There you go.
Oh, okay. Good evening, councilmen, council president, and council. I'm here to speak. My name is Mingo Gomes, 7 Pembroke Drive, Suffield, Connecticut, and I also represent the Hartford Parking Authority. I'm here to talk on item number 1, and I am in support of the ordinance amendment. I believe that not only increasing the commercial non-residential parking lot licensing fee and adding garages to it allows for consistency in how the requirements are applied. I also believe that the increase in the fees will allow those lots, will allow the city to better utilize the open spaces and the parking lots that that spread throughout the city. I just think that having the parking lots and all act in one cohesive manner allows the city to better manage the parking lots. Hello?
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Any questions, council? Okay. Next up is June Lyons.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon, council members, and to everyone on the phone. My name is June Lyons. I reside at 27 Sargent Street. I am here to speak on item number 4, name in the resolution to rename Hillside Avenue and New Britain Avenue Charlene's Way. I'm in favor of that. I knew Charlene Mansfield for several years. Charlene Mansfield is a person that, if anyone knew Charlene, and I'm speaking from the heart, you know that Charlene is a person that loved people. When you talk about humanity, that was Charlene. When we were growing up, I knew Charlene from the 70s. Charlene always said she wanted to be a lawyer, and she did not become a lawyer, but her main focus for saying she wanted to be an attorney was because she wanted to help people. And as you will hear from other people that will testify when asked that you will really consider naming that street Charlene's Way, it's because of the love that Charlene she had for the people in the community. Charlene loved people, and she did everything that she could to be of service. And I think that that is the one thing that, as human beings, we are here to service others. Charlene would buy food. She would go out and she would help people from all races and from all ethnicity. And she died tragically back in August. When you think of people who are, you would say people who are phenomenal women, Charlene Mansfield, she deserves her place right amongst all of them, because we will all be proud. Many of you may not have known who she is, but she's the type of person that in any community, we would be so happy to have her as a citizen, because she did her civic duty. She loved people. She worked in the community. She helped others. And like I said, she was taken from us so tragically, and she had so much more to give. So I would ask that that resolution be voted in favor, and that avenue, Hillside Avenue, New Britain Avenue, I'm not sure where it is, but I am asking that the council will consider, please, voting in favor of naming that street Charlene's Way. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons. Are there any questions from council? All right, next up, we have Joanna Lovino. Joanna Lovino? All right, we'll come back. Next up is Aaron Gill.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good giving us a chance to share our thoughts with you. My name is Aaron Gill, and I live at 387 Capitol Avenue here in our wonderful capital city. I'm speaking on item 1, and I'm speaking in favor of item 1. Many of you are aware I'm the vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission here in the city. I'm also the chair of the Frog Hollow NRZ. To be clear, I'm not speaking on behalf of either of those two groups. I'm speaking more as a resident, and also as a civil engineer with over 20 years now of experience with traffic calming, traffic measures, and looking at things like parking and what it does to our urban areas, and living in an urban area my entire life. So as I mentioned, I'm strongly in favor of this item. Unbeknownst to most folks, the city of Hartford has more parking per capita than almost any other city in America. The common perception is that there's no parking in the city. The reality is, studies have shown that that's quite the opposite, and that as parking and the amount of parking in our city has increased, the population has gone down, and there have been a variety of other negative impacts that our city has experienced as a result of this increase in parking. A lot of this information is put out, published by Professor Garrick at UConn, who also noted that every parking spot in our city costs the city approximately $1,200 per year. So I would ask any council member to stop at a parking lot downtown and start counting all of those parking spots and add up that $1,200 per year and think about what that does to our city coffers as you all are struggling on a constant, an everyday basis on how to spend the limited funds that we have in the city. As such, this item goes, it does a small part in helping us to begin to recoup some of the financial burden that these parking lots place in our city. We're at a time in the city here where we're pushing to become a more bike and pedestrian friendly city for multiple reasons that I could share with you for another half an hour. But it's a time where it's more critical than ever. The funds generated from this item will have a huge impact on helping us make the physical changes to our city that are so important and so necessary to make our streets safer for all users, for bikes, for pedestrians, and for drivers. In my neighborhood in Frog Hollow, over 40% of the households here don't have access to a car. That means that over half of the people that live, half of my neighbors here in Frog Hollow don't have access to a car. Many of you know this is not unique to Frog Hollow. It's common in the neighborhoods throughout the city. And it's time that we start prioritizing our physical space for those of us that live here. This is one small step in moving towards that. It's time that we generate some funds. It's time that we use those funds to make the physical changes that we need to make our city safer. Many of us, we've all heard so much over the summer how dangerous our streets have become, especially for those of us that walk and bike through the city. Again, the funds generated from this item will have a dramatic change in giving us an ability to make our streets safer for all users and do so at a much quicker pace than we'd be able to do otherwise. So for all those reasons, strongly in support of item 1 and hope that we can push this forward. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Gill. Any questions from anyone? All right. Next up is Vicki Gallen Clark.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Vicki Gallen Clark. I'm with the Blue Hills Civic Association, also doing business as Building Hartford through Community Action. located at 410 Homestead Avenue in Hartford. I am encouraged by looking at the changes that have been made to item number 2. And let me just go back and say, before I go into that, I do support resolution number 3 that's on the agenda. Okay, so I'm really talking about the Police Civilian Review Board. I'm encouraged to see that the voices of the residents were heard and that there have been quite a few changes incorporated in the resolution that's before us tonight. I'm pleased to see transparency added to the process, such as the HPD policies to be posted online, names of the officers as well as the findings to be posted on the HPD website, and the CPRB meeting minutes to be posted online as well. So I love to see the transparency there. I'm also encouraged by the fact that there will be at least one youth on the review board. What I'm concerned about is that the category, the nomination process for the CBRB has been expanded. It says a community recommendation process has been included. I've gone through the whole resolution, and I still am not clear on what that community recommendation process is. I know that our agency, BHCA, has been very vocal regarding police transparency and accountability. And I'm hoping that organizations like ours will be brought into the process to make recommendations. So for the record, I would like BHCA to be included in that process. I am concerned about a couple of other things. The mayor appoints 8 of the 9 members. I've talked about my concern regarding that as well. But now the mayor also selects the chair. Why cannot the members select the chair of the CPRB? To me, these are intelligent, they're being selected. So my assumption is that they're intelligent, that they can make that decision as to who should be their chair. So I would love to see that incorporated. The other thing is, it says the CPRB arbitrator has to, or recommendation is that they are a retired judge. I believe that process or that nomination for the arbitrator should be more inclusive. I think we need to be acutely aware that systemic racism has been really linked to the judicial system that we currently have. If you're going to stay with this person being a retired judge, you really have to look at that person's track record, go through the history and look at that person's track record to make sure that you're not getting someone in this process who's going to be making final decisions who is biased. So those would be my concerns. Again, I hope that these are incorporated in the final resolution, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Clark. Any questions from council? Okay. Next person on the list, and just a reminder, give your name and address if you would, and the item that you're speaking in favor or against. Next person on the list is William Moffitt, Jr. Will Moffitt. Will Moffitt? All right, Will Moffitt going once, going twice. I'll call these names again at the end. All right, next person on the list is Rafia Ansari.
Greetings, I'm here.
All righty.
Greetings. Rafia Ansari, 192 Vine Street, Hartford, Connecticut. Tonight I'm speaking in favor of item number 3. I am the daughter of Abdullah Shahid Muhammad Ansari, and I propose that he should get at the least an honorary street in his name, Muhammad Ansari's way. I propose this because of all the hard work that he did at the Open Hearth. The street that I proposed to be changed would be Sheldon Street, the street that my sister and I went to from children all the way up to adults. And we saw not only him change his own life and become the executive director as he retired, but we watched him change so many others and touch so many others' lives. My father got the name Muhammad because in the Muslim religion, Muhammad was a prophet, and he was very peaceful, just like my father. So I propose that that street should be changed specifically because of his effect at the Open Heart. I also propose it because of his hard work in the NAACP, where my father served for 5 terms, and his ability to get people together, to get people to listen to him, to bring about a positive change. My father lived his life in trying to help Hartford and to change Hartford, Connecticut, to be positive for the African American community, specifically for the Muslim community specifically. And I think after all of his hard work, his dedication for the Open Hearth, for the NAACP, and for the Muslim community in Hartford, the least that we could do, and anybody that knew him, the least that we could do would be to honor him by giving him an honorary street. Especially in light of COVID, with everything going on, we couldn't even celebrate his life in the proper way. So I wanted my father and the dedication that he had to the city to never be forgotten. And I proposed that street we change to Muhammad Ansari's way.
Thank you, Ms. Ansari. Questions from council? I note, and I may have been derelict in this, I note that Councilman Thomas Clark has joined us. Next on the list, Quinton Shand. Quinton Shand. Quinton Shand?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I appreciate you guys letting me speak tonight. I am talking in favor of renaming New Britain Avenue Charlene Way. I'm in favor of that. Just to give a background, Charlene's my godmother. I'm a young man that she raised from, a child to a grown man, and I'm one of many. Right? She's someone who, like the lady who spoke before, everyone said she's like real giving, right? So she got to play a large role in not only my life but multiple godchildren's life, right? She's leaving children behind that most people wouldn't even think to step into a role and play that. If my mother was to go, Charlene would have had to step into being my mother, and she played that role for, I would say, maybe 10 or 12 kids, giving her heart to all 10 and 12 kids for her entire lifetime and our entire lifetime. And I say that right now that we all miss her. And we know for a fact, not only us, but her family and everybody knows that, a light like that shining on New Britain Avenue will maybe have some of these people think, they need to slow down in that area and think how they're driving in that area, so we don't have another Charlene happening to any other 10, 12 god kids or 10, 12 children or 10, 12 family members or anything along those lines. I don't know if it's a huge burden on the city to go ahead and put that, superimpose Charlene's Way on there. I know, maybe us giving you guys some background, but outside of our background, that's not a burden on the city to go ahead and, shine a light on someone who's been taken away from, so many people. And I'll speak to her being taken away, but, her as a person, when Charlene was killed, maybe a couple of days after, I was able to go into the community to a lot of the corner stores that I know that Charlene would have me drop her over there so she could play her numbers in that area. And at each and every one of those corner stores that I went to, they all identify with the pain of losing Charlene because they know Charlene. So it's not like we're putting a sign in some area where no one knows who's Charlene. This is somebody that everyone in that area knows exactly who Charlene is. So everyone will be comfortable with seeing, hey man, look what this city did to identify. Look that person that we know, that person's heart that we know, that person that comes here with her godchildren, or that person that comes here with spending her money in the community. I don't think that would be a burden to the city at all. I won't waste too much time, but I love Charlene to death. That would be awesome if you guys could do that. I'm sure her family, right? I'm a godson, a cousin of hers, but her immediate family lives in that area, and them being able to see that too would be a constant reminder of things that the city can do to try to change the mindset of people in the area at a minimum. So I appreciate your time once again, and like I said, I'm for that, and I hope that's something that you guys can get around to do, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. We appreciate your comments. Any questions from council? Mr. Sanchez.
So it's not a question, it's just a statement. Thank you. Through you, Chair. So I just want to clarify that, and I would like to share with the audience and everyone that when there's a name that's been nominated to be recognized and superimposed, so what happens is once it goes through the process and approved and voted on, what we do is the name, for example, for Charlene, we have Hillside Avenue and New Britain Avenue. So those are green labeled with white letters, and those stays on that pole in the corner. So what happens is if we add by superimposing, we actually add the name of the person, and that will be right underneath the actual street name, and that's where it's going to be superimposed so that everyone can see it. So it's been some comments already made that changing the name of the street and so forth. That's really not the case. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that we add a name, and that name is specific to the person that we're honoring. Thank you.
And we appreciate that, and we appreciate that, and we just definitely look forward to seeing like Charlene's way superimposed under what the street name is already, just so we can identify with that. We definitely appreciate you guys going through that process. Thank you.
Absolutely, and Quentin, thank you for speaking out, and Khafia Asadi also.
Okay, thank you both. Anybody else? All right.
Councilman Gale, could I say something? Same thing with, we found the spot on Charter Oak Avenue, which the Open Hearth faces the Charter Oak Avenue sign. It's Charter Oak, and now I can't remember the other little side street, but that's where Mohammed Ansari Way will also go. So his name will always be, when you walk out of the building, you'll be able to see it right there. So just wanted to clear that up too. Thank you, Councilman Sanchez.
It will definitely be visible for sure.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rossetti. Anybody else? And thank you, Mr. Shand. All right, moving on, then we have Pastor A.J. Johnson.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Greetings and God bless everyone on the call tonight. And also utmost respect to our council, who has one of the most interesting jobs in our city. And we appreciate everything that you all do on a day-to-day basis. We may not say it, we may not put it in the news, but thank you for everything that you all do. Tonight, I am not sure of the two agenda items, but I'll just go through because I'm sure everyone will know what I'm talking about. My name is Pastor A.J. Johnson. My address is 253 Lime Street in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm here to speak on one, the superimposing of Abdul Shahid Muhammad on Charter Oak Avenue. This is very tough for me because I had a personal relationship with him. He was a mentor of mine, and he was one of the most respected elders in our community. Anytime you ever needed President, I will always call him President Ansari. Whenever you needed him, he was always there. And he always had a passion for uplifting young people. His demeanor. He wasn't a tall man, but his presence was tall in a lot of different ways. Not only did he serve 5 terms in the NAACP, but he also, speaking on this issue, was a member of the Police Civilian Review Board for a number of years. And I believe that gracing the city of Hartford with his name on a street corner would do our city justice. I know what the family is feeling because of their loss. And I remember when my father died, we went through the same process with making the corner of Westland and Barber Street superimposed to Dr. W.M. Johnson Corner. And we go on that street with pride. We continue to go on that street with pride. And I'm sure the family and all the loved ones will go past Charter Oak Avenue and have a sense of pride that their loved ones served with dignity and served with respect. So I am here in support of changing and superimposing that name on Charter Oak Avenue. The second issue that I am here for, which I didn't know I was going to be here for until hearing the Women's Commission speak, is the Civilian Police Review Board. Obviously, all the council members know that the Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance has been very vocal on the Civilian Police Review Board and have walked through the process with you all. Although I'm pleased with the progress of the document, that the document has made, tonight I realize I live with a member of the Permanent Commission on the Status of Hartford Women, Melinda Johnson, and there's no way I can get off this call without supporting my wife and her commission for the sake of representation. The Police Civilian Review Board should be composed of 50% women. I want to echo that because, again, at minimum, I want to echo that because I would be kicked out my house if I didn't support my wife. So, in the commission that she sits on. So I just want to show my support for those 2 issues. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor Johnson. Any questions from council? All right, moving right along then. Number 13 on the list is Stephen Maldonado. Stephen?
Stephen, unmute your phone.
Stephen Maldonado? All right, Stephen, don't know if you're there, but we'll come back to you. Next on the list is Charlotte Barber. Charlotte?
Good evening, council members. My
Good
name
evening.
is Charlotte Barber. I reside at 264 Flatbush Avenue in Hartford. Charlene Mansfield was my daughter. Charlene was killed in a hit-and-run accident on August 5th, 2019. There was an accident on our street that Saturday. On Sunday night, there was another accident, and Charlene went to her phone and she texted to everyone, "Be safe, people. There's so many accidents." That was Sunday night. On Monday, Charlene was killed by a senseless driver. My daughter's body was thrown 80-something feet in the air, I'm told. When I got to the hospital, I couldn't see her. The doctor said they were working on her. I never got a chance to say goodbye to my child. She was my caregiver, my cook, my roommate, and as I said, my baby girl. I would like to see resolution number 4 pertaining to Charlene's way passed. I'm 83 years old, and I would so much love to see this happen in my time. Charlene went about doing good for everyone. She wasn't perfect, but she fed people. She bought clothes and sneaks for little children. She would come in the house and cook. and bring out plates for other people. One day she said, "Oh, that bike that was in the shed, I gave it to the little boy up the street." I said, "How did you know I didn't want to give it to one of my grandchildren?" But that's just the way she was. On the morning that she passed, a young lady came and told me that Charlene came to their house that morning and brought fresh vegetables to her parents that my cousin had brought from his garden in East Windsor. She was just the ultimate giving tree. And I'm asking again for your consideration to please change that area of Flatbush Avenue, of Hillside Avenue and New Britain Avenue to Charlene's Way. Charlene never stopped giving. She was a kind-hearted person. I worked in community action program for 39 years. I ran the food bank, the homemaker program, and the senior aid program. And whenever she was able, or whenever she wasn't working or in school, she came to assist me, and that's how she learned to help people. Again, I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Barber, and our condolences to you on the loss of your daughter, and to the Ansari family. And I don't know if we have any Marfuji representatives here, but to the Marfuji family as well. Council sends its condolences to everyone. Any questions from any council members of Ms. Barber? Next up is Andrew Woods. Andrew Woods? Andrew Woods. All right, we'll pass for the moment. Next up is Carolyn L.
Carolyn Elamine.
Elamine, I'm sorry. I only have the L part. My apologies.
No problem. Greetings to everyone. Thanks for your time. I'm calling on resolution number 3, requesting that the street name of Charter Oak be changed to Abdul Shahid Muhammad Ansari Way on Charter Oak Avenue. I have known, call him Imam Ansari, which is the leader, and I'm also representing Muhammad Islamic Center located at 155 Hungerford Street in Hartford. He was the assistant imam to our imam leader, and he was a person who was very positive. He was a person who worked very hard in the community, and I've known him since the early 70s. He's a people person. He also was a co-founder of the New Africa Learning Center, which was located on Albany Avenue in Hartford. He was the president of NAACP, as many have mentioned, and he approached me, you know, when he was president of NAACP to become a member of that organization, and I've been a member since. He's a person who was punctual. He was always on time, was always giving. Should never, you know, you don't want us to forget him and all the hard work that he contributed to the community. Whenever, you know, like I said, whenever you need something, donations or whatever, he'll be the first to do it. And he has no problem in doing it. He was just very kind, a very kind person. And every time that there was any presentations made at the Capitol, you know, I can be sitting, I should be there, but I would see him at the Capitol on the front line. He was always there representing the community. So he will be missed. So that is my comment for resolution number 3. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Greatly appreciated. I'm going to just return for a moment to Constance Mansfield. She was number 1. Constance, are you here now?
Yes, I am. I apologize to all of you and greetings. I reside at 264 Flatbush Avenue, and I am in favor of item 4, which is the superimpose of Charlene's Way. Although Charlene was my sister, I'm coming to you with a different point of view. I'm coming to you because Charlene did the work at the grassroots level, just going around in the community and doing what she could for people. For instance, she would shovel for the elderly at no charge. She would also cut their grass. She had a habit, it was one of her hobbies, to play the lotto, and she would do that every 2 weeks. And she had a system set up, whether it was using birthday of her family and things of that nature, and she would always win. And I'm talking about winning big, $1,500 at one time, $2,500. A third of all of those winnings would always go to buying book bags or sneakers or whatever it was that the children in the neighborhood needed. She didn't want anyone to know. And I would always argue with her as her older sister and say, Charlene, you got to be crazy. Listen, you need to put that money in a mutual fund or a high interest money market account. You can't be doing that. What about your retirement? And she would say, shut up, Connie. I'm blessed. Don't worry about it. To make a long story short, about a month before she passed, we had the same conversation. I said, Charlene, you're driving other folks' kids back to school. You're paying for people's kids' sneakers and book bags. You're buying people food. You're doing everything for everyone but yourself. You're working 8 hours a day, and then you're the caretaker for mom. When are you going to relax? And she said to me, Connie, shut up. I'm doing God's work. Don't worry about it. And I say that to say, I don't care about a street name, but it is something nice, and I'd like to see it happen. However, what I care about is keeping up the work that Charlene did on the south end of Hartford, that when I walked and got the petition signed for 7 days, physically going door to door, I heard these stories over and over again that I already knew. Thank you all for your time. Thank David Grant for all of the weeks of listening to me and me going over and over with what I wanted. And thank you to all the council members and all of the listening audience. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Mansfield.
You're very welcome.
Any questions from council? Hearing none, next on the list is Imam Kashif.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. My name is Imam Kashif Abdul Kareem. I'm the resident imam or minister or pastor at Muhammad Islamic Center, located at 155 Hungover Street in Hartford, Connecticut. And I'm calling to voice that I'm in favor of superimposing the name Ansari Way on the Charter Oak Street, inshallah. I've known Imam Ansari for 25 plus years in a personal as well as a professional capacity. I've known him as a friend and as a family man, a great husband and a great father to his children. I've also known him as a professional person in the way of turning to him as the historian, really for the city of Hartford and Connecticut. He was always able to articulate to us the great African-American experiences that took place in Connecticut. And if you was a member of the NAACP or Open Hearth, you quite often heard some of his many stories. He was also considered a Muslim historian for the Muslim community in Hartford. Whenever anyone needed any help or try to understand the history of our community, really in the state of Connecticut, Imam Muhammad Ansari was the one that we would turn to. He was around since the early 50s, and he was one of the co-founders that helped Islam get established in Connecticut. and become the first masjid in Connecticut, founded by Malcolm X in Hartford. He, of course, had his own masjid as well. He was a minister or an imam of the New Africa Learning Center, and he was also one of the co-founders of that building as well, that masjid as well, until he became ill. He served as my assistant imam and helped serve in terms of special prayers, etc., for our community. Imam Masari, we know him best because he loved people and he loved service. And we know that we recognize him for his servant leadership. So we really pray that you're willing to superimpose his particular name, because we feel the names of streets, the names of these streets and schools, etc., that surround us, help document and teach the history to our young people. And they need to have positive influence and positive images around them to be able to help our children as well as to help ourselves. So we pray and hope on behalf of the Muslim community that you'll do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Okay, next on the list is Geneva Abdullah. Unmute yourself, Geneva. Geneva Abdullah. I'm reminded that if you're muted and you can't, you're having difficulty, try *6, and that will unmute you. *6.
There you go.
All right, do we have Geneva? All right, Geneva, it's your turn at the mic. All right, well, I'm not sure what the difficulty is, but we can come back. Next on the list is John Abdullah. I see both of you are on the same call. John, are you there?
Okay, my microphone say on.
All right, we can hear you.
Okay, greetings to everyone. I'm Geneva Abdullah. I live at 7 Woodstock Street, Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm also a member of the Muhammad Islamic Center at 155 Hungerford Street, and I am in favor of item 3. I've known Imam Muhammad Ansari for a very long time, and he's always been helpful and a pillar of the community, even amongst our members at the Islamic Center and in the outer community. And he was a perfect example of a community leader, and I am in favor of. Everything has been said, has been well said, and there's not too much more to say, and I just hate to just repeat and go behind everybody. And I am in favor of item 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abdullah. We have your comments. Questions from council? Next is John Abdullah. John, are you there?
Yes.
You're up.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. I'm in favor. I'm John Abdullah in 7 Woodstock Street, Hartford, Connecticut. I'm in favor of item 3. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can, John.
Yeah. I just want to say I knew Shahid Abdullah Muhammad back, I say, in the 60s. I say 66. Now I think that's quite a few years. And I worked with him from those years into the years that he passed away. And I took him for be a friend and then a leader of our community. I worked with him during the time he was NAACP president. So I'm not going to go on, but item 3, I'm in favor to item 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. We've got your comments. Greatly appreciated. Next on the list is James Abdul Samad. James Abdul Samad. And remember, you can use *6 to unmute yourself.
I'm James Abdul Samad. I live at 240 Martin Street. I'd like to address item 3, to superimpose the name of Muhammad Ansari on Charter Oak. I knew Muhammad for many years, since the 60s, and I've always found him to be of great character. A lot have been said already, so I won't repeat all the things that he's responsible for. But I would like to add that he was also a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and he's the director of Open Heart, president of NAACP, and the founder and leader of the New Africa Learning Center on Albany Avenue. And also, he worked in the prison. He was a prison chaplain. So he touched the lives of so many people, from the little man on the street up into the high political offices. And everyone knew him. And on top of that, he was a great friend. So I think he's well deserving of any honor that we can bestow on him. And I think superimposing his name on the Charter Oak Street is a small thing that we can do for him and his family. The least we can do. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Samad. Questions from council? Next on the list, Kelvin Lovejoy. Mr. Lovejoy? Mr. Lovejoy? Mr. Lovejoy? And remember, use *6 if you're muted to unmute yourself. Mr. Lovejoy? All right, we'll move on for the moment. I will call all these names again at the end. Ronnie Bonner. Ronnie Bonner here.
Greetings. I greet all in the name of Jesus the Christ, who is the head of my life, to the esteemed council members to everybody on this call. I'm here. My full name is Ronnie Bonner, 45 Harrison Place, Hartford, Connecticut, 06112. It's been a year and a couple, 2-3 months since my sister, by nurture, went home to be with the Lord. And as much as it was a tragedy, I tried, and she always taught me to look at my cup as half full versus half empty. So, looking at my cup as half full versus half empty, and I think about everything that she's done, everybody that she's touched, and everybody's lives that she's helped. To superimpose her name on a street would just be that, to superimpose her name on the street. But Charlene's Way would not be the name of the street. It is a way of life. Charlene did life in such a way that everybody she came in contact with, when you left Charlene's presence, you were better off than you was when she got there. And it wasn't for a form of fashion. It was only because that's just who she was. It was the way she was raised. Giving honor to Mother Barber, because the Bible says it this way: train up a child in the way and he or she should go. And when they get old, they will not depart. Charlene was old like me, and she did not depart. She did everything that she was taught to do by her family members. Charlene touched people in such a way, man, that you cannot help but drive past every street in Hartford, Connecticut, and Charlene superimposed her way on that street. There was never a dull moment with my sister. I remember times, man, when I was down literally in the dumps, and she always had something. She would say, "Ronnie, we're going to be all right." Even in this tragedy, I hear her saying to me, "Ronnie, we're going to be all right." So I'm here to support my sister, my mama, my friends, and family in accordance with the council's vote to superimpose her name on that tragic street corner. That even in that when we pass that corner, we'll know that it's Charlene's way. And Charlene did it God's way. Thank you for your time. God bless you real good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Questions from council? Next up, Leslie Hammond.
Hi, this is Leslie Hammond, 1 Linden Place in Hartford. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you for having this public hearing. It's always an honor to hear from other residents of Hartford. It's, quite powerful to hear from Charlene's family. So thank you, everybody, for showing up and speaking. I want to speak. I guess I'm going to be against number 2, even though I'm not against most of it. The Police Civilian Review Board. I really appreciate that you guys came together, the Working Families Party and the Dems, to work this out, because I know it took incredible amount of hard work, and Working Families Party did a lot of public meetings, and I'm sure the rest of you spent a lot of time on this too. So I really appreciate that. And of course, I just love it that you communicated and came together. That makes me just thrilled, because I know how challenging that can be at times. Anyway, I'm totally for the for the Women's Commission and agree. Actually, I think it was initially my idea, to tell you the truth, because, as you know, some of us have been with the group Hartford PD Not Safe for Women. And over the years, we have heard, stories from women not feeling safe with the police with a gun. And so I can just imagine when somebody makes a complaint, how hard that might be for anybody, particularly for people that might not trust the police on a good day. And then if they have a problem with them and want to make a complaint, it's triply hard. And then if they're women, it's going to be even harder. I would feel that way myself, and I'm one of the white privileged ones. So I can just imagine what it might be if you're Black or brown or poor, and if you're a woman. So I think it's really important for people to feel that they might have people that can really hear them. Along that line, I don't know how you're going to do this, but I know some of the members now seem to me to be a little more pro-police than I would like. I would like people to be more objective, and I have no idea how you make that happen. But I could tell from the meeting I attended that there was definitely some members that were on the side of the police. I did as I think I told you before, I did an FOI request, and I had to pay like $330 or something for the minutes and for the tally sheets. And I just assumed they would be online. It was my fault. I didn't make that clear, I guess. And thankfully, Attorney Riskin's going to get that money back for me because that was quite a bit of money. Anyway, I'm very concerned that it's great. It's going to be online, the minutes and the tally sheets, or I think the tally sheets. But I want to know who's going to follow up on that, because that's not been happening as of now. And so where's the accountability on that? So I'm very concerned about the accountability for a lot of these things you guys are suggesting. And thinking about the investigation, one of the things that came out in the meeting I attended, I think Councilwoman Rosado was on there too. And I'm not sure, I think Councilman Sanchez was on there, but it seemed to me that a lot of people didn't talk to the investigators. So I can understand the commission has a hard time, finding out what really went on if the person didn't talk to the investigator. But, our investigators, are they people that are really accessible? And, it's all about body language and the way you deal with people. And I'm hoping that we have the right investigators, that people feel safe talking to them. But it's back to, I'm sure you guys think about this because, just thinking of the vulnerability of making a complaint against police, how hard that is. And then you have to talk to an investigator. And if that person doesn't have the right body language or way of dealing with people, they're going to say, oh, forget it. I'm not going to talk to this person. So I don't know how we solve all these problems. I'm sure you guys have discussed some of these things. And I don't know how you put it in an ordinance, but I'm very concerned because I really want it to work, and I know you do too. But right now, a lot of the complaints, it felt like they weren't investigated, and I don't know. It's not doing right now. It's not doing what it should be doing, and I don't know how we get there so it really works, so people feel safe. They know how to make a complaint. They know where to go. They know how to do it, and they feel safe. So I'm, 100% willing to work with you on this, and I know you guys are 100% too. So hopefully we can make that happen. And then just number 4.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hammond. You've reached your 5-minute mark here.
I've reached my 5 minutes. So no, we'll definitely do Charlene's way.
Got it.
Just is, unbelievable story. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Questions from anyone? Next on the list is Stacey Birdsong. Stacey Birdsong?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening. My name is Pastor Stacey Birdsong of 216 Hazard Avenue of Enfield, Connecticut. I am here to speak on resolution number 4, and I am in favor of the resolution. I'm here, and greetings to the councilmen and women of the great city of Hartford, Connecticut. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to be allowed to speak on behalf of the superimposed street name on Hillside and New Britain Avenue to Charlene's Way. I had the opportunity to do Charlene's eulogy back in August of 2019. And as we stood there at the visual and watching all the people come out and showing their love for Charlene and how people was just so saddened and devastated by what had happened to Charlene. As I looked around, I looked up and I seen the street sign, and I said, you know, Lord, what can I say about Charlene when I give her eulogy to her friends and family? And on that day, when we had Charlene's funeral, the church was packed with people who came out to say their final farewells to Charlene. People from the community, her family, her friends, and people that she didn't even know showed up on that day. And as I began to give her eulogy, I began to talk about the things that Charlene did in the community, giving of herself, giving of her time, being very diligent about going out and visiting people and helping people. And as I stood there, the last thing I could think of was her Facebook post where she put up prayers up, another car flipped upside down on Flatbush right next to the one yesterday, drive safe people. Charlene was a true humanitarian, always going above and beyond. I can attest to that because my mom had a hair salon in Hartford on Westland Street, and Charlene would always come and help my mom with that outside, shoveling, cutting the grass, sweeping the porch, taking trash out when my mom hadn't even asked her to do any of those things. She would always jump right in and assist anyone where they was needed. And so I said during the eulogy that day that, you know, it should be renamed Charlene's Way. And her family took that and really acted on that. And I would love to see that street superimposed with the name of Charlene's Way. It's not just the name, but it's about the legacy that she leaves in that area, the young people who looked up to her, the young people that she broke up fights between young men and women in front of bodegas and spoke to them about loving one another and giving back in their community and pouring back into one another, not destroying Hartford, but to continue to build it up. So I think that this would be a wonderful tribute to Charlene, a wonderful tribute to her family, and a wonderful tribute to her mother who raised and instilled values in Charlene. Charlene often worked in the community at CRT. She worked at the Boys and Girls Club helping the young children. She did a lot of work in the community that went unnoticed, that went unseen, and she gave back a lot. And people didn't even know that it was Charlene. I spoke to people after the funeral who came up to me to tell me that she would leave food on their porch, and she would think that they didn't know it was her, but they would see her leaving. So she did this stuff anonymously, never for any recognition, never for any notoriety or for fame. She did it out of the kindness and the love in her heart. And if many more people in this time did the things that Charlene did, it would continue to be the legacy of Charlene's Way, because Charlene went above and beyond to serve her community. I thank you for your time. I appreciate you allowing me to speak with you all on tonight, and I look forward to riding by and seeing her name superimposed Charlene's Way, and I have faith in the council that they will make this move on tonight. God bless you, and thank you again.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Birdsong.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, I've reached the end of the list. I'm going to go back and call those people who I missed the first time around, and then I'm going to call to see if there's anybody else who's joined who would like to comment. So first, going back, first person that we missed was Joanna Lovino. Is Joanna Lovino with us? And a reminder, if you're muted and you can't figure out how to unmute, try *6. Joanna Lovino. Okay. Next on the list was Will Moffitt. William Moffitt. Is Will Moffitt with us? Will Moffitt. All right, next on the list was Stephen Maldonado. Stephen, are you there now? Stephen Maldonado?
Hello? Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
All right, let me walk away because I got my babies making a lot of noise. All right, so I'm here for Charlene. I guess I'll tell you guys of how I know her. I knew Charlene now back 21 years ago when I first started back in McDonald's. I was 16. That's how I met Charlene. And I met the strict bossiness of her, I guess. Not in a mean way, though. I learned a lot from her. She pushed me to really push myself to, be better of course, working there, but be better with many other things as well. I saw definitely a good side of her, helping people out and stuff as well. And then even after that, I lost track of her after, of course, leaving there. But then I saw her again, realizing that she lives exactly next to my cousin's house, and we kept in touch after that. And from there, I was just, she always asked me how my kids doing, how's my family doing. Every time I asked her, every time she saw me, she always asked me. I'm sorry. And she's always been great to me. She's always been good to me. Always been great. It's hard to tell you everything, everything that I experienced with her, I guess. But she's always been a really good person with me. Back when I was younger, and even now, 20-something odd years later, she always tried to keep in touch with me every time I went to my cousin's house. I spoke with her, and we'll stay outside for a few minutes or maybe a few hours, just chit-chatting. So she's always been really good. Honestly, I wish I had a better speech, but like I said, all I can tell you is she's always been a great person with me, even after all these years, and she's always been really great. So yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Maldonado. That was a fine speech.
I appreciate it. No practice. Not practice for that at all.
No problem. Any questions from anyone? All right. Thank you, sir. Next past individual was Andrew Woods. Andrew, are you with us? Andrew Woods? And again, a reminder, if you're muted and you can't figure out how to unmute, try *6. Andrew Woods? All right. Last person who got passed was Kelvin Lovejoy. Kelvin Lovejoy, are you here? Kelvin Lovejoy? Kelvin Lovejoy. All right, well, that concludes the list of names that signed up. However, I will call to see, is there anybody who's joined who would like to speak to council tonight? Is there anyone who has joined this public hearing who would like to speak on any one of the 6 items? And again, a reminder, if you're muted, try *6 and that'll unmute you. And if no one speaks, you may have to listen to a councilwoman speak.
Hello? Hello?
Yep.
I would like to speak.
All right, your name, please, and your address.
My name is Imani Ansari, and I live at 192 Vine Street, Hartford. I'm in favor of resolution number 3. My husband, Abdullah Muhammad Ansari, was an asset to the Hartford community. He was loved and respected by all who knew him. He was known for his even temper, good listening skills, and incredible intelligence. He was slow to speak, but when he did speak, it made a big impact. He was a 5-term president of the Greater Hartford NAACP.
President of the African American Alliance, Treasurer of the African American Alliance, Chair of the Hartford Civilian Police Review Board, Executive Director of the Open Hearts Incorporated, Imam or Minister of the New African Learning Center, member of the Hartford Town Committee. He was a board member of the Open Heart, of SysCon, and of the Connecticut State NAACP. It would be an honor for the city to recognize the work he did for the city of Hartford by renaming Charter Oak Avenue in his memory. Thank you so much, and thanks for the condolences.
You're very welcome, and once again, our condolences to you on the loss of your husband.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Council, anyone? Was there, before I get to Councilwoman Rossetti, who I believe wants to make a quick comment here, is there anybody else who called in who would like to address council tonight at this public hearing on any one of the 6 items that are in front of us?
Hello,
Once?
Karima Muhammad. Hi.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Karima Muhammad, and I'm located at 7 Woodstock Street in Hartford, Connecticut. And I'm also a member of Muhammad Islamic Center on 155 Hungerford Street. And I'm in favor of item number 3, approving Abdul Shahid Muhammad Ansari Way, superimposing it on Charter Oak Avenue. So I knew Imam Ansari since I was really young. And all I noticed is that he was very much involved in our Islamic community, but the thing I loved about him is that he took our Islamic principles out into the community instead of only within it. So I really like that he represented that. And I was also a member of NAACP when he was president, and what was really starking to me was his example in leadership. He was very open-minded. He was very open to being innovative. Whatever ideas that I had, he would really support it. And I was with the youth committee at the time, so for me, that was very empowering. And it was my first time really getting active in the community of Hartford, and that was what helped in leading me to get more active even in my work in community outreach, was through his example. And now just also hearing about all that he has done as well. I didn't know some of the other things he's done. It's very it's a legacy. And I feel like that's something that we need to exude in this community and something to look up to and work towards. So it would be great to have him as that emblem and have this superimposed street for him on Charter Oak Avenue. So thank you. And I hope to see it there because it is well deserving. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Any questions, council? Anyone else who's called in who would like to comment to council tonight on one of the 6 items in front of us? Anyone else? Going once? Oh.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, go ahead. Your name and address, please.
Oh, thank you. It's Rafia Ansari, Muhammad Ansari's daughter. I just didn't get a chance to say a special thank you to Councilman Rosado for all of your help, helping me get named, as well as my sister. And I just wanted to thank every single person on this phone that spoke so eloquently about my father, and about is watching us right now. My father is with us right now, and even to the other lady named Charlene, rest in peace. So thank you all for all of your help.
Thank you for your comments. Questions, council? Okay, is there anyone else?
Yes.
Council President? No. Is there anybody else who wants to?
Thank you, and thank you to my sister Khadijah. Sorry, I forgot. I would like to speak.
I'm sorry, Miss. Who is that who's speaking?
Your phone. My phone is muted. Go ahead.
I couldn't tell that you could hear me. My name is Khadijah Ansari, right?
All right, go ahead.
Are you able to hear me? Okay. So I'm at 915 Main Street in Hartford. And I just wanted to speak briefly about my father. I also echo the sentiments of my sister and thanking everyone for the comments that were made about my father, Abdul Shahid Muhammad Ansari. I just wanted to speak about him in the fact of him changing his life in Hartford, him being dedicated to the community in Hartford, both religiously, politically, just with his activism, but also his upright character and being a mentor and a role model for so many people. My father, that street specifically, him working at the Open Hearth, but being a part of the Open Hearth, going through the program, changing his life, turning his life around, being able to counsel other people and be able to help others get their lives back on track. That right there, my father, his life, even though, you know, the Muslim community, NAACP, all of that was wonderful, but those men that he worked with at the Open Hearth, that was literally like his heart, because he went through that. He's been there where those men are today and he helped them get out of that position. So I just wanted to say that I really hope that this is something that can happen, because it's not just about him having something that is going to live on in Hartford, you know, as far as like for an ego standpoint, but it's just something to just show people in Hartford what is possible, what people can do, how even if you hit rock bottom, you can always change your life and turn it around. So thank you to everybody for all the comments. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anybody else who would like to comment? Do we have anybody else at this point? Okay, I believe Councilwoman Rossetti, you wanted to make a comment?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Mike Zaleski, who is the president and CEO of Riverfront, couldn't be here tonight. And I just wanted to speak quickly to agenda item 5, which is the Joe Marfuji Riverwalk. Joe Marfuji, as a lot of you know, was the executive director of Riverfront from 1986 to 2015. Joe Marfuji was my neighbor. Joe Marfuji passed away in 2018, but Joe Marfuji and others had the vision to do what is happening now at the Riverfront. And certainly it has changed some, particularly in the last few months and in the last year, but we really found a way to reconnect our communities, our diverse communities, to the Riverfront. And I really hope that we can support number 5 and look to rename a portion Joe Marfuji Riverwalk for his work and dedication. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Although a little out of the ordinary, certainly appreciate your comments tonight. Is there any other members?
Why is it out of the ordinary?
I don't think I think our rules say council doesn't speak to council at public hearing, but we could go back.
I was speaking as Mike Zaleski. Didn't I look like Mike Zaleski?
Yes.
I said I'm here as Mike Zaleski. Wait a minute.
Yes.
I don't know how to do that, but so sorry, I broke a rule. Punish me. Excuse me.
I called on you, so I broke the rule.
Okay, good.
Okay.
You still have a minute and 12 seconds left.
Who else could I impersonate? Never mind. Thank you, Councilman. I'm done.
All right. Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Council President Rosado.
I just thank you. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who called for the resolution for Mr. Ansari and for Charlene's Way. I do want to inform, and I don't know if my colleague said this before, that both resolutions went through the dedication committee and were approved with a favorable recommendation to council. So for all of those, and for Charlene's mother, who said, I believe that she's 82 years old, and she would like to see that name, you will see that name sooner rather than later on Hillside Avenue, as well as Mr. Ansari's. I'm very sorry for your loss, our deepest condolences. But thank you. It's very nice to hear everyone who came out to speak about Charlene. Those are our two heroes in our community that a lot of people don't know what they do behind the scenes. So it was very nice to hear everyone who took the time to speak regarding Charlene. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Any other council members like to make a comment? All right, well, hearing no further, it appears that we had 30 speakers called upon tonight, which is a pretty fair amount for this council. And I'm going to take the liberty of saying, do we have somebody else that's calling in here?
Yes, I apologize. This is Andrew Woods. I'm just calling to speak in favor of this opportunity as well. And thanks everyone for joining the call, and thanks to the council for supporting this resolution.
Well, thank you, Mr. Woods. I got to change my marking here. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? All right. Well, so I better sign off quick before we get more. No, I just wanted to just say one thing, and I'm taking a little bit of liberty here. But we had 6 items on here tonight, and we had at least 30 people that were called. And by and large, everyone spoke in favor of the items. We did have some comments on the Police Civilian Review Board that I would take more as constructive than as than as opposition. And I think that's a little unique in the annals of council. That everybody tonight was essentially speaking in favor of things. So with that, and hearing no other comments, I'm going to adjourn this public hearing. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank
You too. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.